Right, so the first thing you'll need for this recipe is a scale, a food scale, all right? Because we're gonna weigh out all the ingredients. And obviously, since this is throw it all in a blender recipe, you are definitely gonna need a blender. These are instant, like the quick cooking oats, okay, process. You can use rolled oats if you like, but I just have this for now, all right? So I'm gonna measure out about 60 grams, okay, of the oats. 60 grams of oats go in. And then, since this is a half and half recipe of oats and plain flour, so next the flour goes in. Okay, again, 60 grams. Altogether now you have 120 grams of both flour and oats. Next, the egg white protein. Again, do not be confused by the tub. I've got egg white protein powder in here. Okay, so we don't need much, about 20 grams, which is less than a serving. All right, so just look at the scale. 23. Next would be the milk component. Okay, so instead of using just regular fresh milk, I like to use, again, let me just get this out of the way. I like to use this Anlene powdered milk. One, because it's so much easier to really kind of weigh it out, because it's in, you know, powder form, it's dry. Two, it has a lot lower calories than your regular low-fat milk, and it tastes really nice as well. It has a sort of a vanilla taste to it. So for this Anlene milk, all right, this powdered milk, you get, for every 29 grams, you get, I don't know if you can see it, 108 calories, yeah? And out of those 108 calories, you get about 9.1 grams of protein. So that's more protein going into the mix. So about 30 grams or 29 grams of this powdered milk goes in, of the Anlene powdered milk. Now next, I've got some baking powder, okay? So about half a teaspoon goes in. Next, some bicarbonate, soda bicarbonate, a lot less than the baking powder. I'm using a quarter teaspoon measuring spoon here, so it's a lot less than the actual spoon measurement. I'd say this is like probably half of a quarter teaspoon. You don't really need much because there's a lot of other rising agents in here, but this will definitely help. In fact, I guess you could take it out altogether if you want. All right, but I don't know, I kind of like it in, so that goes in. And then, just to sweeten it up a little bit, I've got some sweetener. So this is actually natural 0-calorie sweetener. This is Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. Okay, Lao Han Guao sweetener. Lakanto, it's basically monk fruit. So it comes down to like 0 calories for, I think it's, how many? 100 grams. So they round it down to 0 calories for every 100 grams because it's just too little, all right, to be counted. So add to taste, really. Okay, so I've got my half teaspoon here. I'm gonna use maybe like 2 teaspoons, yeah? 4 of these half teaspoons. Okay, so we're almost done with the dry ingredients. Now, a little pinch of salt because the oats and the flour kind of need them. Okay, a little pinch here. All right, and we're done. That's all the dry ingredients. Now, in with a little bit of vanilla essence. Again, this is optional if you feel like the vanilla from the, if you're using powder milk like I am, you don't really need this, but again, I think it does help with the flavor a little bit, so a few drops goes in there. Okay. The second last wet ingredient will be 1 egg, 1 whole egg. Okay. Drop that in. And then, since we had the dry milk obviously we're going to need the water to add into the mix, right? And also to make this whole thing blend and become an actual batter. All right, so I have here about a little bit more than 200 mils of just tepid, lukewarm water. The temperature really doesn't really matter. I guess room temperature is good enough. And it's supposed to be 200 mils to every 29 grams of the milk powder. So because we want to make it a pretty runny batter, you might want to add a little bit more water. Now, I don't know the exact actual water measurement for that, like exactly how many mils of water you need for this whole recipe, but it's more kind of like just eyeballing really. So one, just make sure you get enough of the water for the milk. Okay, so you could zero out the scale and weigh the water in as you pour it in to be a little bit more accurate. So, and that's it. That's basically the recipe. Now at this point, because it's going to be quite a thick batter, as I said, you need a little bit extra water for it to be more of a runny batter, for it to turn out to be crepes. If you just left it like this, you would end up with a pretty decent pancake recipe, as in you get like really thick and rather fluffy pancakes. They're the traditional pancakes, American pancakes. But since this is a crepe recipe, I feel like personally, I like that better than pancakes. So I turned it into a crepe recipe, and therefore, as I said, you can keep adding in water. Now, the best way to do that is to first blend it first, and then you add the water in as you go. All right, so we're gonna blend this now. So at this point, you can see it's still quite thick, all right? And this is when I kind of just add in the water bit by bit. And that should be, I think that should be okay now. Okay, have a little check and see if you have any clumpy bits at the bottom, and to make sure that it's all mixed through nicely. Use just a regular kind of spatula for this. And this is pretty much the consistency that you're looking for. Even if it's a little bit runnier than this, you're still good to go. Okay, so now it's time for the pan. So I have here a pretty standard crepe pancake pan. Okay, and I'm gonna heat this up to about medium heat. I'm going to use medium heat underneath. All right, I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. Now, for the oiling part of the pan, since we're trying to cut down on the calories, this is a great tip, okay? And basically a great cooking oil spray hack. So I got one of these like really nifty, cheap little spray bottles online from Shopee. Again, all the links to the stuff I've mentioned in this recipe will be down in the description. Okay, so yeah, this one I got from Shopee. You can see there's about 1/3 of oil to about 1 part oil, 3 parts water. Okay, reason why you add in water to the oil is because you want to make sure it sprays out a mist rather than more like a, you want to point it into, like you concentrate it into one point, which kind of defeats the purpose. You want a mist. Now the reason why I wanted to do one like a DIY one instead of buying one of those sprays, just turn off the heat because it's getting a little bit hot, is because, well, this one doesn't have all the other added preservatives and whatnot, right? So this is just olive oil, 1 part olive oil to 3 parts water. One, it will save you a ton of money because those cooking sprays can be quite expensive, and 2, it's just a lot better. You know exactly what's in there. It's just oil and water. Okay, so bring up the heat to about medium. Okay, and give that a little shake and give it a spray. just like so. Now if you don't want to use oil, that's fine. Let's say you want to have a little bit of butter, okay, and have a little bit of happiness in life. You can use butter, okay, so just kind of spread it out using a spatula, flat fish turner spatula like this. Okay. Cover the whole pan, and again, to take off all the excess butter, okay, you just want the flavor, right? You just use a kitchen towel and try to absorb as much of that excess fat and oil as you can, okay? So that's pretty hot now. Time for the batter to go in. Pour in a good amount there, and then just swirl it around. Give it a nice swirl. Now if you think it is a little bit thin, which this one is, because you can see quite a few bubbles there, just add in a little bit more of the batter and you're good to go. Okay. And that's all it is. And you can see, I'll just move the camera over so that you can see exactly what's happening in the pan. So you can see the bubbles are forming, okay? Which is a good indication that it's now time to flip. Give it a little help, a little nudge with your spatula. Of course, it really helps if the pan is non-stick like this. And then flip it. Obviously, you're going to get a few sticks here and there, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, and let that kind of cook away and brown, just like this side, for the next minute or so. And you're done. And this whole batter gets you about 4 of these, okay, of this size, which is a decent serving for one person, especially for a nice morning breakfast. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these off. And there it is, folks. You've got your 4 pieces of your crepe pancakes here in this rather small plate for this serving. Okay, and you can just have it with any kind of syrup or condiments. And I guess, you know, a good tip to keep the calories down, go with the sugar-free or 0-calorie syrups like this one. This is sugar-free and it's only 10 calories per 2 tablespoons, so I think that's about 30 grams. So you get 30 grams for only just 10 calories. Definitely worth the swap, and it tastes pretty good as well. You can see I'm already more than halfway through this bottle. I always like to pair it with some cinnamon powder, or you can always go for peanut butter, and again opt for the low calorie option or the fat removed option. This is 90% less fat. This is PB2 powder. This is just it's a new one. I haven't even opened it yet. You add a little bit of water to this to form a paste, and it basically becomes peanut butter, and you wouldn't even know the difference. So 90% less fat for half the calories essentially. So you have here, you can see there, yeah, 60 calories for 2 tablespoons worth, and that's it. Okay, if you have a bit of a sweet tooth, you can just sprinkle on some sweetener, low calorie or 0-calorie sweetener like the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener here. Okay, just a little sprinkle goes a long way. Okay, with the cinnamon powder, and that's it. Hope you give this recipe a try and let me know how it turns out. Thanks for watching.